Fernando Alonso reportedly inked his new contract with Aston Martin with a gun to his head, after a tempting offer from Mercedes. The presence of Carlos Sainz on the market added urgency to his decision-making process. Let's see how things played out for the former champion in today's video. Last week, Alonso made it official that he's staying in F1 until at least the end of the 2026 season, having sealed a new multi-year deal with Aston Martin. This move extends his career beyond his 45th birthday and marks a reunion with Honda, set to join Aston Martin as their new engine supplier from Red Bull for the 2026 F1 regulations. Alonso's contract extension caught many by surprise, especially considering the strong rumours linking him to possible openings at Red Bull and Mercedes. Before finalising his new deal, there were reports indicating Alonso's efforts to secure a spot at Red Bull for 2025, particularly with the uncertainties surrounding Max Verstappen's future. Alonso was also rumoured to be a contender for a 2025 seat at Mercedes, potentially filling in for Lewis Hamilton, who confirmed in February his move to Ferrari on a multi-year contract starting after this season. Alonso, who consistently stated that Aston Martin was his top priority in talks, emphasised after the contract reveal that both team and driver were aligned on their goals for 2025. He expressed feeling comfortable and at home since joining the Silverstone-based team in 2023. According to a report from German publication Auto, Motor and Sport, Alonso's choice to stay wasn't entirely voluntary, as the opportunity presented by Sainz's availability, following his departure from Ferrari for Hamilton, pressured him to make a swift decision. Despite Mercedes offering a 1+1 year contract in case they couldn't convince Verstappen to switch from Red Bull, Alonso opted to remain with Aston Martin. Sainz's impressive performance at the start of the season, including his recent victory at the Australian Grand Prix, elevated his status significantly. This rise in Sainz's profile reportedly made Alonso cautious about the possibility of him becoming an option for Aston Martin. According to Amuse, Sainz's availability gave Aston Martin leverage, metaphorically speaking, to pressure their star driver into making a decision, as the risk of waiting for potential openings at Red Bull or Mercedes was deemed too significant for Alonso to gamble on. Alonso reportedly found Mercedes' offer of a 1-year contract with the possibility of an extension less appealing. The concern stemmed from the fact that the extension option would have been at the team's discretion, potentially enabling them to pursue Verstappen again for 2026, or promote the highly touted 17-year-old Italian talent, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. If Alonso were to join Mercedes, he was firm in his resolve to secure a place with the team for F1's upcoming regulations in 2026, which are anticipated to significantly alter the competitive landscape. Armus suggests that Alonso's choice to remove himself from the market by pledging to Aston Martin has placed Verstappen in a challenging position regarding his own F1 trajectory. Verstappen reportedly finds the prospect of replacing Hamilton in 2025 unattractive due to Mercedes' current podium drought in 2024. However, committing to Red Bull beyond this season is seen as potentially triggering a bold power move by Christian Horner amid the existing tensions within the team. Aston Martin team principal Mike Crack has affirmed that Lance Stroll holds a central role in their Formula One project, a statement made amidst renewed uncertainty about his career. Stroll is a somewhat controversial figure on the F1 grid. Despite his impressive performance in junior categories, which showcased his undeniable talent, questions have lingered about the influence of his billionaire father Lawrence on his F1 journey and whether he truly earned his position. Despite occasional displays of genuine talent since his debut in 2017, Stroll has struggled to translate those moments into consistent, strong performances. He initially entered F1 with Williams before transitioning to Racing Point after his father acquired the struggling Force India team. Under Lawrence Stroll's leadership, the team underwent a rebranding to Aston Martin, with significant investments aimed at achieving World Championship success. However, Stroll has faced challenges competing against his two-time World Champion teammate, Fernando Alonso. Alonso's recent contract extension ensures his presence in the team until at least 2026. While there's ongoing speculation about Lance Stroll potentially walking away due to performance issues, few believe that Lawrence would dismiss his son from the team. Mike Crack, however, doesn't foresee this scenario, as he openly acknowledged that the entire project is centred around the 25-year-old. When discussing Aston Martin's driver situation before the Chinese Grand Prix, Crack said, "Last week it was mainly about Fernando, but we also know that Aston Martin is Lance's home. We know that, and the whole project has always been around him. So we look for continuity. I've always that is very important, so we will see in the next weeks." With Aston Martin intent on keeping the Alonso-Stroll partnership intact, Crack was asked about the persistent lack of opportunities for rookie drivers, noting that the F1 2024 grid set a record by not including any rookies. Oliver Biermann's debut with Ferrari in Jeddah this season does mark a rookie driver's entry into F1. Crack acknowledges the importance of providing a pathway for young drivers into F1, but didn't see a compelling rookie option that would justify not extending Alonso's tenure with Aston Martin. "I think in general we have a certain duty to bring young drivers into Formula One," said Crack. "But the main thing is that we have the best possible drivers, independent of what is their experience level and where they're coming from. So for us, it was what is the best choice, and if there had been someone from F2 or whatever which would outweigh what we have selected, we would have gone for it. But I think, in general, we need to look at how the situation is developing. As Aston Martin removed themselves from the list of potential teams for Carlos Sainz in 2025, he has emphasised that his best options for next season are still on the table. Sainz's search for a 2025 race seat continues following Ferrari's decision not to renew his contract, opting instead to sign Lewis Hamilton on a multi-year deal, a decision communicated to Sainz even before the start of this season. Sainz has been showcasing his talents race after race, effectively auditioning for potential 2025 teams. He has solidified his position as one of the top stars on the grid, securing 3 podium finishes in as many starts, including a victory at the Australian Grand Prix. This win reinforces his status as the only non-Red Bull driver since 2022 to have achieved a Grand Prix victory, and he's still unemployed for next year. Despite initial claims that Carlos Sainz had 4 or more options for 2025, including Aston Martin, his choices have narrowed following the re-signing of Fernando Alonso by the Silverstone team on a multi-year contract. However, Sainz remains unfazed as his best options are still available to him. Entering the Chinese Grand Prix weekend, he said, "For sure, all my best options are still open," which I think is a positive thing and is something that obviously requires a bit of time, given the situation of the market. "I think it's going to take some time for everything to make their own mind up and their own decisions, but the good options are still open. There hasn't been barely any progress over the last couple of weeks, so there's nothing really to update you on. Obviously, it gets to a point where the sooner that everything develops, the better, because at the same time, it's not like it's affecting my performances at all this year. But the earlier you take this out of your head and of the situation, the better. But it requires time and it requires some decision-making, so now is the time to let that happen and see how things progress." Sainz's potential options for 2025 now reportedly include Mercedes, Williams and Audi, with the latter rumoured to have made a lucrative offer. Additionally, recent reports from Italy suggest that Sainz is close to finalising a deal to join Mercedes, possibly in a direct seat swap with Lewis Hamilton for the 2025 season. Considering the complete overhaul Formula One will undergo in 2026 with new cars and engines, Carlos Sainz acknowledges that it's impossible to predict which option would be better in the years to come. While Mercedes may seem like the better choice today, the future landscape of F1 could significantly alter the competitive dynamics. 2026 a bit like a coin toss, he said. "It's impossible to know right now who is going to get it right for 2026. So even when I take the decision for where I'm going to be 2026 to 2027, it doesn't matter how much you talk to teams, how much they sell you, how good they're doing with the engine. The reality is no one knows. If someone wins in 2026, in my opinion, it's not because of smart decision-making, but because you're just in the right place and the right time. Regarding 2025, for sure my opinion is, with the level I'm showing and I'm driving now, obviously being in a competitive car would be very appealing for me. But again, it doesn't depend on me, and I need to keep waiting." Carlos Sainz's father could play a crucial role as a secret weapon in negotiations for an F1 2025 seat, especially amid rumours linking him to Audi or Mercedes. Trevor Carlin, who managed Sainz during his time in British Formula 3 and the Formula 3 Euro Series in 2012, expressed in a motorsport.com column that the 29-year-old has the potential to become a world champion, given the right car. Sainz Sr. confirmed in January, before Carlos Sainz's Ferrari departure was official, that they had discussed the possibility of a move to Audi and had exchanged views on the matter. Audi, I think, is a guarantee. I know very well how seriously they take every project, and I know very well what the German mentality in the world of motoring entails, with its advantages and certain disadvantages. For a Volkswagen Group brand like Audi, you have to respect them. We all know that F1 is a bit of a special world, but I have a lot of respect for Audi. I think it will only be a matter of time before they succeed in F1. I don't have a crystal ball, but if Audi has all my respect, and I think they are also putting all the ingredients in place for it to be a good project. As you would expect at Carlos's place, with me being part of the Audi family, it's logical that we talk and exchange views on what the Audi team can be in the future. Do you think Fernando Alonso was pressured into coming back to Aston Martin? Tell us what you think in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.